Well, to those participating through ReadyTalk, Twitter, and those who will be reviewing this webinar as a podcast or flash presentation later, I'd like to give you a warm hello. I'd like also to welcome you to this new session of the Product Management View series. I'm Val Workman from Ryma Technology Solutions, one of the sponsors of this webinar. I'd like to thank ReadyTalk for their generous support of this community and their sponsorship as well, and welcome Holly from ReadyTalk, who's back with us, providing all kinds of additional support behind the scenes.
Hello,
Holly?
everyone.
Excellent. And I'll be your moderator today. It's my pleasure to welcome George Padvorac and Craig Squires, who will be our presenters of this week's webinar, Value Engineering, and also the SAVE organization. Craig, I understand congratulations are in order because of your new appointment as the Executive Vice President of SAVE. And I know you'll probably be saying a little bit more about that during the presentation, but could you maybe explain to the audience what SAVE is in a nutshell?
SAVE International, SAVE is an acronym that stands for Society of American Value Engineers. This is our 50th anniversary. We're celebrating this year. Just had our national conference last week in Detroit. It moves around the country every year at different locations. It's a society that certifies, promotes, advocates, and educates people in the value methodology, which we'll be discussing today. And also, SAVE is a global organization. We have affiliates throughout the world, very strong affiliates in Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, the Gulf region, Europe, and so on. So it's a global, has a lot of global reach and has had a big impact around the world.
Well, that's really exciting, and we feel very fortunate that you're here presenting to the PMV today. For those of you who are using Twitter, you can follow and add additional conversation using the Twitter hashtag #PMV during our webinar, and then continue the conversation after this webinar today. The PMV Twitter conversation will be posted afterwards on the Product Management Views blog post, and I'd like to encourage you to make comments and ask additional questions on this post. I'll also be collecting questions throughout the presentation and review them answer session. Now I'm going to pass the control over to George and Craig now, and at the end of the presentation I'll be back with you to conduct the question and answer session. George and Craig?
Okay, great. Thank you. This is Craig Squires. I'll be starting the presentation. I'll do a short introduction, and then I'm going to pass the controls to George, and he'll cover a portion, and then back to me. Again, I'm currently serving as Executive Vice President of SAVE International. I just finished a 2-year stint as the Vice President of Global Affairs. Those are both national board positions. George is in his second year as President of the Houston SAVE chapter, which is one of the larger chapters in the U.S. And for those of you who are interested in finding out more at the end of this presentation, we can give you more information on SAVE International. But I'll go ahead and start with the presentation now. Today we're going to be talking about what we call the value methodology, and just as an overview of what we'll be covering, we're going to talk about the success, failure, and barriers to success for projects in general, and with a heavy emphasis on information technology projects. We're going to talk about the results that you can expect from utilizing value engineering. We're going to give an introduction and brief history of where it came from and how it's evolved over the years. And then that'll be followed by some overview of how it's used, when to use it, and the workshop approach that we utilize in helping teams to use this methodology. If we look at a study by the Standish Group, some of you may have seen this. This was conducted a number of years ago, a very large study, and it showed that of over 8,000 IT projects in 365 companies, that just around 16% were categorized as successful. More than half were characterized as challenged, and a third of them were impaired or failed. And of course, the first question that people ask when we show these statistics is, how do you define success? Success was defined as projects that were completed on time, within budget, with all specified features. Challenged meant that the projects were completed, but that they had issues with budget